If you think about it like on these two angles, like having a remote mindset and having the technology in place and leveraging it, if we think about organizations that have no technology in place and have no mindset, that's very difficult then to have a functioning virtual work environment. And that's clear. However, what I very often see is organizations that have a lot of tools in place. All of the collaboration tools, everything here. So they have the technology in place, but not the mindset. And then what we very often see then when working with the IT departments, they say, well, they're not being used. We have everything here, but somehow it's not being used. And that is also not the ideal, of course. Then not having tech, but having the mindset in place. Yes, we need to change something. We don't have the tools, but we approach it differently. That's a good start, but it's not leveraging the full potential. So in order to really make it work, I think we need to have. What that also can mean is really that, especially if you're in a situation where the majority is co-located and only some people are calling in, having that in mind and really including everybody is something fundamental. Not only for phone calls, you know the feeling. Like when you call into a phone conference and somebody is eating something like a bag of chips or crisps and so on, and like, excuse me. Apparently also on the line, you know the feeling. It's like you tell it one time, excuse me, can you stop that? And then people go, or can you speak up a little bit and so on. And especially if you're not the majority, so to speak, who is on the line, you do that one time, you do that second time, and then you just leave it away. And there the fundamental role of the team, especially the one that is co-located basically, is to always remind and include everybody who's on the line. If you work virtually, maybe at home or in your office, if you work 100% virtually, your coffee conversation with your teammates look a little bit like this, maybe sometimes. You don't meet them that much. And the big danger is that you almost get isolated, lost, because the natural tendency for us is if we see somebody, we start that interaction. If we don't see somebody, very often the natural tendency is not to interact. And this is, I think, where we need to, so to speak, intervene. And as virtual team members and leaders, we need to do proactive interaction. That's the first one, platform. But then, my basic recommendation is, whenever you have at least the slightest feel of, I'm interpreting something into that message here, move up the context ladder. So rather than saying like, what is this person, what is she thinking, or what is he thinking, I will, at that moment, stop and move up the ladder. To, for example, instant messengers, clarifying what exactly did you mean by that, and so on. Or picking up the phone. One statement I think that has helped me a lot when it comes to email interaction: facts are friendly, never assume anything. Whenever I read, oh, she meant this in her email, that's always when your alarm bell should go on. It's like, well, maybe you think that, maybe somebody else really reads something completely different in there. And so on works much, much, much better. But there specifically share the way one works. And specifically here is like, what are the one or two things that really annoy you the most in a work context? Have everybody share that and see how, as a team, we can address this. Because you'd be amazed. Some people are very, very impatient. Some people get very annoyed if you get constant reminders. And that is a great combination or a great start for a very tough business interaction, basically there. Yes, yes. I was telling to Tracy this morning, I talk a lot about virtual presentations as well, like this is a separate subject, but a colleague or a business friend of mine, basically, a business acquaintance. Recently I was talking with him about virtual presentations, and he was like, wow, I love them. Wow, that's great. That's the first time that I hear it. Why? I can get my work done during them. That's what we know it's true. But that's not what we want, right, when we share. Straight to business. You almost have no interaction, no personal interaction anymore. I think here it's the responsibility of the meeting leader to do what I would call the heartbeat moment, or to just allocate 3-4 minutes maybe to sharing a couple of things like what happened the past days, and so on and so on. So maybe saying like, what's the weather outside, how was it over the time, just to get a feeling for the different locations. Maybe also if something is not going so well, if you're grumpy and so on, like, okay, that some people have a moment also to share, to really bring that in, right? To really make this virtual meeting and virtual team a bit more human. Very often we see web presentations and web meetings that are one-way streets. One person is talking, the others are listening. Technology really has enabled us to co-create things, to always include the others while we're working in the virtual work environment. Something can happen. Now, this year is really something that can transform your meeting. I just see that here. It's not, I mean, now it's more like a piece of art, of course. But what I do here, and here's really the power of virtual meetings, what I do very often then is have, for example, here, that's what I used for SWOT analysis. So our team, this project here, we want to launch this product. What's the SWOT? What's the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats?